Babe, I just deleted a whole vlog, a 14-minute vlog that I did. It was alright. It was fine. It was kind of a bummer one, more than usual. But I ended it with a statement that I felt was not quite right, not quite accurate. But, and I, maybe an exaggeration, it was like an exaggeration, but it popped out of my mouth to show my desperation. But there are others more desperate than I. And so the comparison that I made, I feel regretful that I said it and I erased the whole thing. I wish you could edit I guess you can, I don't know how. So I'll just jump to it. God, though, what is it? I found my diary from around the time when I tried to commit suicide. And there's a lot of build-up of my life with Kevin and work with Carol Ann and at the office in general. And my building depression, anxiety, unwellness. And it built and it built and it built for months of Paul, Kevin being really manic for a lot of the time, deceitful, not taking responsibility for anything, blaming me for everything, mood swings, being intimidating, and me also going full blown like maniac, like attacking him more than I even realized. Like, I told my therapist, like, or like scratching myself till I bled. I've told you that. So hellish home conditions. The job, aside from Carol Ann, was stressful. And Carol Ann was creepy. I'll tell you the Carol Ann things because they're juicy. She, okay, I was assistant. They made me be the assistant to Doug Kellner. He's like the founding father of the firm. And Paul says he's great and cool now, like mellow. But when I worked with him, he screamed at everybody. Like everyone was terrified of him. And I guess he's on meds. Anyway, it was frightening experience to work for him. And I had massive anxiety over it every single day. And so I was hanging out in my sister's office for a few minutes, like maybe lunch break, and I said, I was like, Kevin, but all right, we're talking, and I said, I was like, Doug is really screaming today. It's terrifying. And she went, oh, well, that's something you two in common have. Doug, the powerful attorney with great scope, and you both have anger management problems. And so I felt very inflamed, and I felt like I was gonna hit her. And I said, I might not have power, but I have scope. So just reading that in my diary just made me feel ill. The other point that I noted in my diary was we were doing Weight Watchers together, although I don't think I needed it. Whatever. I was in that mindset then. And we're at our meeting and sitting in a row, and she starts pointing to a woman, pointing and pointing. And I refused to look, like I wouldn't like turn my head because I was like, you're so fucked up. I'm not gonna participate in this. And she jabbed me and poked, And the woman turned around and saw Carol Ann poking. So after the meeting outside, I was like, why did you do that? That is so fucked up. And she's like, well, why was someone so thin and pretty and well dressed? What was she doing at Weight Watchers? And so I said, maybe she used to be fat and this is like a support group for her. Or maybe for some reason that we don't know, she hates herself and thinks that she needs to be here. And Carol Ann goes, well, I'm the one that needs to be here because I'm the one that's actually fat. Seems a little lacking in compassion. And I write a lot about how I don't like being out in public with her because she gazes at women lasciviously, and I use the word lasciviously a bunch, like a bunch of different entries where it's like, I feel so uncomfortable going out. This just kept happening and happening and happening. And then I wrote about this one time. We're crossing 33rd, and there are 10, 12 people like walking toward us, also crossing the street. And my sister goes, what do we think of this chick? And there's a bunch of people, women. I'm like, I don't know who she's talking about. And she's like, that one, the one that's tan and slim and wearing a pretty dress, that one. What do we think of her? And I said, I don't know. I said, I didn't notice her. She's a person. She's just a person, a woman. What do you think? And she was like, I see someone thin and pretty and attractive, and I want to have a complete overhaul. I want to transform. And in my diary I wrote, I want to learn, like under that, or I want to learn how to accept myself, and she wants to be magically turned into another person. So, yeah, and then you already know this, but a really like upset entry where I'm like, I'm afraid to walk into her office because she looks at my boobs. She looks at them constantly. I have to like walk in with a clipboard or something or file pressed to my chest because I'm afraid to catch her looking at my breasts. And it makes me feel weird and disgusting and uncomfortable. It makes me hate her. And no man in the office ever does that or ever has in my whole life. And men have their ways, I guess, like they know how to like sneak a peek, which is fine, whatever. But she's just like slack jawed. I think I've told you that word, like, and it's revolting. And then, did I start with this? In the other video, I ended with it. Oh, the thing that I was ashamed of saying. So my life is building up in hellishness. Kevin was really manic, smoking disgusting amounts of weed, unemployed, and then he did finally get a job that was just working with people with disabilities, which he got fired because he did a sketch of the autistic boy that he was working with and whose father had been in the military. And he did a sketch and then he wrote Agent Orange, question mark. He got fired from that. Anyway, and he felt really self-righteous that he got fired and didn't see the gross inappropriateness of that. Anyway, life with him was hell. Fighting, him being really manic, kind of delusional. He should have been in the hospital then. But I just thought that he was a raging asshole. I knew there was a problem. I used the word manic in my diary, but I don't think maybe if I had someone in my life that had an understanding of these things, or I didn't get it because I knew I didn't get it. I hated being with him. I hated living with him. And I felt trapped because I was making $8.75 an hour, no insurance, at the firm where my sister was a partner. And I just don't remember if I talked about this already. So she, okay, I felt really trapped. Didn't have friends, and this was couldn't save money, and didn't. The job was hard, the commute was hard. So, and Caroline was really kind of a bitch, and so I quit without anything lined up. And my sister tortured me for months. That's a whole other vlog. Did I say all this? Because I just did another vlog. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I quit. She tortured me, and eventually I got a temp job that paid decently and well enough to save some money. And Kevin at that point had some other job, so we pooled our resources, did Amtrak, which was really cheap, and $112 to go across the country, for both of us, like together. Anyway, we took Amtrak out to California, lived with Camilla, rent-free for a while until we got the fuck out, until we got good jobs, and everything got better, at least as far as home life goes, like quality of living conditions. And I'm spacing out so hard. Yeah, in a lot of ways, life improved once we got to California. I mean, it went to hell there too, but the feeling of being trapped in New York City and unable to get out, unable to afford to get out, and living with a sick man who wouldn't get help, who didn't know he needed help, and was scary. So I'm chronicling all this life in this diary, and it's kind of building up and building up and building up. And toward the very end, like 2 days before I didn't write. I used to always write on the Staten Island Ferry. It was a very peaceful place and calm. And day before, or 2 days before, the only entry is, I have nowhere to go. And then, because that was was that the night of suicide? It's not dated, which is also weird. I was just out of it. I can't remember if the horrible conversation with my sister was the night I did it or like the night before. I can't remember. But let's say it was the night before. I have nowhere to go. And I would have written that because I would have just had that conversation with her. Where I can't ask Stu. So I felt very, very trapped, and that was part of what I did. And the pressures of Kevin and work and my sister were bad, but also the cost of living in New York and living in such a low wage and feeling like I couldn't get out. That was part of it. Goodbye for 1429.